Good evening, everybody. I hope you are all well. Welcome to our webinar called Finishing Your Application with Royal Holloway this evening. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is James Casey. I'm a Schools and Colleges Liaison Officer here at Royal Holloway. Really looking forward to speaking to you tonight. And I'm also joined by Adam and Tara. Adam and Tara, if you'd like to both introduce yourself, please feel free to.
Hello everyone, my name's Adam. I'm an international officer here. So my job is to kind of support international students with the process of applying to Royal Holloway and also adapting to university life here in the UK.
Everyone, I'm Tara. I'm the International Regional Manager, also supporting international students, but have also previously worked in the same team as James, supporting all the UK students as well. So I'll be in the background answering questions and yeah, looking forward to today's session.
Fantastic, thank you both. So we have a quick bit of housekeeping before we get stuck into tonight's session. This webinar will be recorded, so in case you want to catch up with it at a later time, it will be uploaded onto our YouTube channels, hopefully. So you will be able to catch up if there's something that you maybe miss at the time. The other thing to note is that when you message in the chat, you will be able to do it privately to us as organisers or to everyone in the event. So please bear that in mind if you do have any questions along the way. And then just before we do get stuck into things tonight, Adam's going to put out a quick poll just to see whether you can hear us all okay. So if you wouldn't mind answering that quickly, then we can get started.
Yeah, it looks like we're all good.
Fantastic, great stuff. Right, heading into things tonight. So yes, welcome from Royal Holloway. So what actually is Royal Holloway? So we are a top 30 UK university, regularly voted one of the most beautiful campuses, not just in the UK, but around the world. Here are some quick facts about us. We do have a fantastic overall student satisfaction rating of over 77%. And we also offer over £3.3 million worth to students for scholarships and bursaries as well. In terms of where we are at Royal Holloway, so hopefully you'll see from this fantastic little flight map that we've got here, that as we leave central London, we are indeed based just outside of West London in a place called Egham. Here we are. So that is where we are based at Royal Holloway. Lovely area to be based in, and we are based across over 134 acres of lovely green campus in Egham, as I say. Here is our campus map. As you can see here, our blue buildings represent our academic buildings. So this might be where you study, in lecture theatres, in our library spaces, and also things like our individual study spaces as well. The purple buildings represent our accommodation. So yes, you can actually live in our iconic Founders Building. Finally, our reddy orange spaces on this map also represent our social spaces. So this could be our student union, it could be our cafes and restaurants that we have on campus, or it could also be our fantastic sports centre just in the bottom right-hand corner there. In terms of what we offer at Royal Holloway, we do have a wide range of departments that we specialise in here, ranging from anywhere between the arts and humanities to the science and math subjects as well. Here you can see just a few that we have on offer, but we do have over 250 undergraduate courses available to students in the UK. In terms of our student clubs and societies, we have over 130 different opportunities there as well. And we have over 1,000 different employment opportunities for those for those students wishing to work on campus as well. So there's really great ways that we induct students into our social student life here at Royal Holloway. In terms of today's session, we're going to be thinking about a few different areas this evening. First and foremost, we're going to be looking at the possible choices that you have when you finish your post-18 education. In terms of one of those options, of course, this will be the university system. And of course, we'll be looking at the UCAS process as part of that application. We're then going to be having a quick look at finishing your personal statement, a really important part of your university application, before then answering what actually happens next. So once you've submitted your application to your chosen university course, what actually happens next? So I'm going to pass you over to Adam now for this first section, where he's going to give you a quick overview of the choices that you have available when you finish your post-16 education.
Brilliant, thank you for that, James. Yep, as James said, I'm just going to go through the choices that you probably already have made, but it's always worth, just before submitting that application, making some final checks and making sure that you're happy with what you've done. So as you will know, the first part of the application is making your choices. That's getting down from the 50,000 courses there are down to the 5 that you put on your application. So just before you hit that submit button, it's a good idea to start reflecting on your future plans and your priorities at the moment as well. Just remember that this is a decision that will impact the rest of your life. So you want to make sure you've taken it seriously and you've really thought about the courses you've put down. So I'm sure you've all researched your options really carefully, and that's a process that you can continue doing now. We'll talk a bit later in the webinar about how you get from the 5 down to your insurance and your firm, but basically it's just a lot of research. And you can do this in lots of different ways. You can use the prospectuses. Most universities will have these online as well as sort of hard copies. And these will tell you things about entry requirements, the course modules, and it's really worth going through all of that really carefully to make sure that you are picking the right courses for you. We really recommend speaking to current or former students. There's loads of stuff on our website about chatting to Royal Holloway students, and this is a good idea of just getting sort of real feedback on the experience and finding out what it's actually like. There are also loads of open days. These can be virtual or in person. That's a good way of getting a feel for the university's facilities. Again, chatting to some students who are there at the moment, and yeah, taking part in some taster talks maybe to make sure that you're picking the right place for you. You know, there's loads and loads of stuff online that you can use. So just make sure you go onto all of the different universities' websites to figure out if you've made the right call. But yeah, I'm sure most of you have already sort of finished that stage. So I'm going to pass back over to James now, and he can talk a bit more about the UCAS process in more detail.
Fantastic, yes. So the UCAS process. So most of you will be here this evening because you're wanting to finish off your UCAS application. So what actually is UCAS to begin with? So UCAS stands for the Universities Colleges Admissions Service. It was formed in 1992, and it is the key company and key vital factor in your application for university in the UK. So to get a bit of an idea for how you guys may know UCAS already, or just to test some of your knowledge that you may already have, we've got a quick quiz to kick things off tonight. So Adam, if you wouldn't mind kicking off the first poll for our first question. And the first question tonight is, how many choices do you have on your UCAS application? So is it 3, 5, 7, or 9? Please put your answers in the poll. So for those of you that said B, 5. That is the correct answer. Well done, everyone. You do indeed have up to 5 choices that you can put on your UCAS application. Up next, we have how much does it actually cost to apply to more than one course? Okay, so is it A, £12.50, B, £22.50, C, £36.20, or D, £27? Please put your answer in the poll. Well done to those of you that indeed said D. Of course, it fluctuates every year, but at the moment it costs £27 to apply for those 5 courses. However, as we'll talk about later on in the webinar, if you do just have one course that you're going to apply for, it is only £22.50 for your application fee there. So one more quick quiz question to kickstart things tonight. This one is a true or false. So please tell us if you think it's true or false that you can apply for multiple courses at the same university. Hopefully you guys have done well on that one, because that is indeed true. Well done to those of you that said that as the correct answer. So yes, hopefully you've enjoyed that little bit of quiz to get us going this evening. But up next, we are going to be going through a bit of a deep dive of what the UCAS application system actually looks like. So once you've registered with UCAS, you've set up your account, you'll be able to see your hub, okay? So your hub should look like this. Hopefully you can see that on the screen. And what you'll be treated with is an overview page that indeed looks a bit like an overview of what the UCAS system offers you. So you'll be able to see where your 5 choices you can put in, but also the different factors that you can choose throughout your UCAS process. Adam, is it all okay with the slides?
Yeah, I think I've got them shown for me. Can you not see them?
I can't see them from my side, so I'm just going to double check. I've still got the poll on my screen. Has anyone else still got the poll? That might be the problem. Well, we'll continue with it anyway. I've got the slides up next to me here. So yes, once you're treated with the hub, you will indeed have what it looks like on your overview screen. You'll then be able to choose some of the favorites that you have, so your top 5 courses that you're applying for. So that could be the 5 choices that you are actually applying for, but it could also be other courses that you might be interested in. You'll then be able to lead into the different options of support that UCAS offers, such as the personal statement builder, which is a really effective tool for helping you to structure your personal statement and hopefully just give you that little bit of extra guide and support for what your personal statement should include and what should best suit your application. Finally, if you're still not sure about what you specifically want to choose in your course, there is a tool for analyzing what people like you have applied for instance. So that could help guide you in the right direction. So yes, the UCAS process, you have completed your profile, you've registered to start your application, and now you're going through to the next bit to fill in those specific details of your profile. So who you are, what your background is, and what you really want to see in your course. Next slide, please, Adam. Here we go. So yes, you can see the next stages of your process. If we go to the next slide again, please, Adam, then that should give us what the overview is of what your personal details should look like. So that will be things like your name, your age, your title, and your gender. Next up, you'll have your contact and residency details. So your address, email, telephone, things like that. Then you'll have your educational background, so your qualifications and where you have attained them to this point. You'll then have the chance to put in your employment details. So if you have got any part-time work that might support your application, or any unpaid or voluntary work, then that will be a really good chance for you to input that to the system. Next up, you also have your nationality details. After that, you then have any supporting information. So if there's anything that you might need support on during your university era, then your universities that you're applying for will know how to respond to this. Finally, your English language skills, whether you require an extra English proficiency test or whether English is actually your first language. And then finally, the finance and funding section. So this is probably one of the most important parts of the profile, and you'll need to tell UCAS how you're going to fund your study, whether it's a tuition fee or whether it might be privately funded instead. In terms of the UCAS process, you do of course get 5 choices, as we've already seen in the quiz tonight. These 5 choices could be from different universities, or they could be from 5 different courses within a university. There is all sorts of overlap there, so you really do have choice to what you want to use it for. But ultimately, always remember that you only have one personal statement for all 5 of those choices. In terms of some key facts about UCAS, you do indeed register via the UCAS hub, as we've just seen. This also means that all applications are online, so there is no paperwork involved in the process. Of course, you can add up to 5 choices. You don't have to choose all 5, but you can add up to 5 choices as part of your application. It is too late now to apply for Oxbridge for 2023 entry. The application fee is £22.50 for 1 or £27 for 5. And then providers cannot see other choices when you apply. So that's worth bearing in mind, that the provider will not be able to see which other courses or universities that you have applied for. So one key factor in the UCAS application system is, of course, your personal statement. So I'm now going to pass back over to Adam, who hopefully will have some really good top tips on finishing your UCAS personal statement.
Yeah, so here we go. Let's think about the personal statement, because I know this can be one of the more frightening parts of the process. So we're just going to start having to think about what the personal statement is. So we need to remember it's a reflective essay where basically you're selling yourself and telling universities why you're a great choice to study the courses that you are applying for. The character limit of 4,000 characters and 47 lines is really, really strict. So it includes apostrophes, spaces, any other special characters, and the line limit also includes blank paragraphs. You want to make sure that you're hitting these guidelines, because anything after this limit is lost and we won't see it. And you want to make sure you've got a really great conclusion at the end that we can actually see. It can seem a bit daunting, but it's really possible to write a fantastic personal statement, and it's also great preparation for university life as well. It's also just worth saying UCAS has really strict rules on plagiarism. So it's got its own software that can pick up when people have been copying, basically. And if that is picked up, then it gets passed on to the universities, and obviously that's going to impact whether or not you're likely to get an offer. As you know, we see all of your grades, so you don't need to include those in your personal statement. So we're going to have a think about the kind of things that you could include in your personal statement. Normally, we think about 3 kind of main categories of stuff that you can put in a personal statement. We want to see some academic content, we want to see some work experience, and we want to see some extracurricular activities as well. It's not all about this academic work you've done. It is important that your personality comes through and we can see what kind of person you are and if you'd be an asset to the university. So academic content could be anything from summer schools, TED Talks, taster days you've enjoyed, and work experience as well could be shadowing or voluntary. And as I say, make sure you get some extracurricular stuff in there as well, just to show us the kind of person you are. So you've got to make sure you find the right balance. Obviously, you're applying to a university, so the key part is the academic bit. We would normally expect a personal statement to be around 70% academic, and this would be all about the course that you've chosen and why you want to do it. You could try and get some wider reading in there or other activities that you've done that are related to the course. And it's just a good way of showing that you're really, really passionate about the course that you're applying to. The other 30% is going to be the non-academic stuff. So that'll be the skills and experience that you have outside of your studies and how they are relevant to your course. There are different ways that you can go about writing the personal statement, and this is just an example. If you've already written it and you don't think it looks like this, don't panic. There are great ways of doing a personal statement without following this structure. But this would be sort of a basic way that you could do it. So start with an introduction, talking about why you picked these courses, why you're interested in them. Then going into that larger chunk that's going to be your academic 70%, how the A-levels you picked linked to your course, the kind of research you've done by yourself or activities you've taken part in. Then moving on to the extracurricular activities and showing how they're relevant for studying at university level. And then ending with a nice conclusion that could be looking even further into the future than the university studies itself. For keeping those kind of extracurricular activities relevant to the course, we try the ABC method. Again, there are different ways of doing it, but this is quite a good way of keeping your personal statement relevant. So you sort of start with an activity. What did you do? How did this benefit you? And what skills and experience did you gain? How is it relevant to the course you're studying for? And then making sure you get some specifics in there as well to prove that what you're saying you've done, you really have done. So if we take an academic example here, and we can see how the ABCs fit. So completed the online MOOC Understanding Biological Energy by Dr. James McAvoy. That's your A, that's your activity that you did. The B is then showing that you gained knowledge in how modern biotechnology and biofuels can reduce humans' reliance on fossil fuels. The C then would be how it demonstrates an interest in biology. And then we can see as we read the whole thing all together that you've got specifics in there that are proving that you know what you're talking about and you have done it. It's really important not to lie in this kind of section because people will sort of figure that out. Imagine now a lot of you will have started writing your personal statements, and so we want to think about how we can edit it and get it ready for submission. It's a massive part of the process, and all of these tips are really, really useful. Reading it out loud gives you a really good sense of whether or not it makes sense. Sometimes when you're reading things in your head, you skip over bits and you don't notice mistakes that you might have made. So reading it out loud and reading it to friends, teachers or family members as well is a really good way of people spotting different mistakes or changes that you could make that you didn't see yourself. As I said, make sure your specifics are correct and try not to use anything you don't fully understand. And I know it does get boring, but keep making sure you check. Everything needs to be perfect. You don't want to miss an opportunity just because you missed a few spellings or punctuations. There is also a personal statement review service on some universities, but you know, we're now probably at the time we're at, we might be looking a little bit too late to get that in and back before the application deadline. So yeah, here are some sort of top tips just to double check the personal statement you've done. You want to explain why you're right for the course, provide some evidence to show not only that you meet the selection criteria, but also that you've researched the course and genuinely are interested in it. Make sure you're showing some stuff you've done outside of the classroom to really highlight that this is what you want to do and you're not just doing it because you feel like you should. It's good to show that you've thought a bit about university life and what you want to get out of studying. Make sure it's easy to read. If you think that your admissions tutor is going to be reading hundreds of these, you want to make sure that you're making it easy for them. Use paragraphs. You know, make sure the spelling, punctuation is all correct because you don't want to make anything too difficult. Start strong. Make sure it's to the point and you make it clear right from the off why you want to be studying this at university. try and use your own voice. We find that quite often people write in cliches or end up just writing some generic sentences. We want to make sure that your personality is shining through. That kind of is linked to the last point as well. It's personal and a statement. So it needs to be a personal piece of writing that's all about you, your ideas, your ambitions and experiences. Make sure that we get a bit of your personality coming through. And yeah, make sure that you're not writing it directly on UCAS because it can just be quite difficult to check on there. It's better to write it in a Word document first and then copy and paste it over because you don't want to lose any of the work you've done either. Just very quickly then, I'm going to talk about the teacher reference. Now, this isn't something that you do yourself. It's completed by your school or college, but it is an important part of the application. So teacher references will be written by a teacher, careers advisor, or maybe a personal tutor. And it just tells the university a bit more about you and gives us something that we can really trust. It helps in the selection and decision-making process. A reference, your reference will include sort of a lot of different information. It will have information about your school and college. It will tell us any sort of special circumstances that we need to bear in mind when looking at your application. It gives you a report of how you perform in a certain subject. It will tell us sort of academic and practical skills that you've got, your capability as an independent learner, any examples of you exploring the course outside of the school and what you've done in lessons. And it will tell us like how good you are at maintaining deadlines, working hard, stuff like that. It also tells us like how suitable you are for the course yourself, and what your sort of attitude towards work is like. So it's good to have a good relationship with the person that's going to be giving a reference to us. So to get a great reference, there's a few things you can do. You want to make sure that you're speaking to your reference writer and you have a good relationship with them. Maybe keep a log of your achievements or the stuff you've done outside of the classroom, just in case they're not fully aware, and demonstrate to them that you've done your subject research as well. You want to meet early and often if you can with your reference writer, so they've got loads of time to write a great reference for you, and you want to always be honest with them so that they know that they're telling the truth and they're helping you out, basically. That's about it on the personal statement and the references. I'm going to pass now back to James, who can tell us a bit more about the next steps.
Thank you, Adam. So yes, what actually are the next steps now you've completed all that section of your UCAS application? So hopefully in the next slide here, you'll be able to see where we've completed to this point. You've had your teacher reference all come through, you've finished your personal statement. The rest of your profile is all completed. It's at this point you then need to sign off your declaration. So this is essentially to check that you are a legitimate person, that you are who you are applying for this course at this university. You then have to do your payment of £27 if you're applying for five courses. And then ultimately your application will then be submitted. Okay, so that's perfect. You've got that far, really well done. What happens next, hopefully, should be the really exciting bit. So yes, this is the timeline. Obviously, the important thing to know about the deadline for you immediately now is that your 25th of January is indeed the important date that your application needs to be fully sent off by, okay? After that, as I said, the exciting bit, this is where you get your responses from the universities that you have applied for. So there are 3 different types of university responses. On the next slide, please, Adam. Fantastic, thank you. A conditional offer, which is your place at this university will be dependent on the grade offer that you receive. This is the most common type of offer that you might hear back. So that will mean if you are offered AAB, for instance, for a course, you will need to attain AAB or equivalent to get your place on your course secured. Additionally, you can also get an unconditional offer. So this is an offer that means you have a confirmed place regardless of the grades that you receive in your exams later this year. However, this does not mean that you can actually give up on your studies. and is often actually already given to students already with their results from the previous year. But it's not uncommon to also get them for a university that really, really wants you to come and study at their institution. And the final type is the unsuccessful offer. So yes, unfortunately, you have been unsuccessful in your application to that university for that course, but you will be able to get feedback from the university directly. And also, if all 5 of your choices have been unsuccessful, then you will get another chance to go back through via UCAS Extra or on clearing day as well, where you'll be able to potentially sweep up some of those places that other students haven't necessarily chosen to go to. We'll come on to clearing a little bit later, but the next step is then choosing your first as your one as firm choice and your one as an insurance choice. So what does a firm and insurance choice actually mean? So your firm choice is your first choice university course that you really want to aspire to. It's that one that you really are dreaming of. Hopefully you feel lots of passion for, and it's the place you really might want to go to. Insurance, really, really important. That will be your second choice course or university. And these are often lower grades or a safer option generally. So if you don't get into your firm choice, then you will have that insurance choice as backup. Of course, the other thing to notice there is don't forget to attend any applicant open days if that is on offer to you, because you might get a really good vibe, which might help you to actually choose between your firm and insurance choices as well. Key considerations here. Of course, module choice. Every course is different. One module will be in one type of history course that it won't be in another history course at a different institution. So it's about weighing up which is the most important areas of study to you personally. Have a look at the National Student Survey scores. Are there certain courses that have much higher student satisfactions than others? It's worth bearing in mind. The academic opportunities, not just your social life, but also the opportunities that you get as a student there. How might they actually help you towards your future career that you might have in mind, or your professional working life in the future? Have a think about that. Of course, the local environment, you're going to be potentially living in this place for 3 years of your life. You need to feel comfortable and safe within that local environment, but you want to make sure that it's the right place for you to study as well. In terms of personal support, that can also be academic support, so support with maybe your writing techniques and stuff like that, if that's not something that you feel fully confident on at the moment. But it can also mean your health and well-being support as well. So what mechanisms does a university have to actually support you personally and academically as well? And then finally, the extracurricular activities. So is there an activity that you've really wanted to try before that you haven't quite had the opportunity to do? Does the university actually offer that potentially? There's all sort of important considerations to make there as well. So the next stage will be your confirmation on results day. That's when you'll hear whether you've fully made it into your firm choice university, for instance. But of course, you will also have the chance to go through clearing. So what is clearing? I think clearing often is a thing that people are scared of. It's not always that scary. It can be a great opportunity specifically for students not holding an offer from a university maybe, but it's also for those with those offers, it's a chance to reconsider your choice. So if you've done maybe better in your exams than you expected and you want to see what other universities have courses, room available for you, you might have the chance to adjust to those universities. Likewise, if you don't attain those grades that you really wanted to get, of course, there will be plenty of options available to you from other universities as well. And this is all through clearing. Once you've secured your place, you've confirmed your results day, everything like that, hopefully this leaves you at the point where you can start at your dream university come September. That's the aim of it all. Fingers crossed you get to that point. Of course, we should mention here the really vital, important factor that is student finance. I would really strongly advise you to be as on it as you can with student finance. It does open in February/March time, so it's worth keeping a close eye on when this system opens up for you to apply for. You will be able to apply as UK students for a UK student tuition fee loan, so that will cover your £9,250 study costs per year. And alongside that, you'll also be able to apply for a maintenance loan. So that will be the loan that covers your actual living costs day to day when you're at university as well. And we do have a really useful student finance in 60 seconds video on our YouTube page if you would be interested to see a quick deep dive on helpful possibilities for you there. So in terms of the international side of things, I will pass you over to Adam here now, who's going to tell you a bit more depth about the international student cost as well.
Yeah, thank you for that. So the costs work a little bit differently for international students, and there's a bit more to be aware of. Basically, yearly fees will range from about 19,000 to 23,000 a year, depending on the course. That's for 2023 entry, and prices might change. We're just not 100% sure yet if they will. The tuition fees then will be paid in 2 equal instalments every year. You also need to think about the cost of a student visa. The universities don't have any control over this. That's something that comes from the government. But it's the kind of thing that you need to be really on top of to make sure you're getting through that as quickly as possible. You need to think about accommodation costs, and that's relevant for home students as well. Again, these can be paid in 3 termly instalments, and it's just worth being aware of that it's something you need to think about. At the moment for EU students, we do have a fee reduction scheme. Again, we're not sure how that's going to work going into the future, but it's the kind of thing that you should be aware of, and always checking the website because that'll be the most up-to-date way of finding that information. It's also worth thinking about part-time jobs and also scholarships and bursaries. Now, these scholarships and bursaries are also relevant to home students as well. We have loads of information on the website about the different kinds of scholarships and bursaries that we've got on offer. I think a lot of the time students just assume that they're not eligible for them. Not all scholarships are to do with your household income and things like that. There's also loads out there for future leaders or people that are great at sports, music, or getting the best grades. So I'd really recommend everyone goes onto the website for whichever university's there, looking at and having a look at the different things on offer, because we do have a big pot of money that we want to use to help out as many people as we can. Obviously, there's no guarantee that you're going to get these scholarships, but it's definitely worth having a look online, seeing what's out there and seeing what you might be able to get. Yeah, that's about it for that, and I'll just hand you back over to James.
Yep, so we're at the point now where hopefully you know everything that you need to know about your actual application process. What's important now is your post-application timeline, okay? So yes, you should hopefully reach that 25th of January 2023 general application deadline. By February, March time this year, you hopefully can kickstart your application for student finance. As I said, the earlier you can do that, the better. The 18th of May 2023 is the deadline for universities to respond to you with your offers. The 8th of June is then your deadline for choosing your firm and insurance choice. So those are some really important dates which might be worth noting down for your foreseeable next few months. And then hopefully, yes, summer 2023, your results day, that will be when you fully confirm your place at university. Exciting stuff. So just some final top tips from us before we finish off today. So use all the resources that you have available to you. Of course, this evening has been just one of those resources, but we do have loads available on our website, which can really help guide you through your application step by step if you are still finishing it off at the moment. The other things, double, triple, quadruple check your qualifications and your course codes, okay? So you don't want to make any silly mistakes there that you're actually applying for the wrong course that you think you actually want to apply for. Okay, triple check them. And then finally, make sure all your sections are marked as complete. So of course, you'll need to do that before you actually send it off. So hopefully that goes without saying. I think that is all from us this evening in terms of what we have for you. Of course, we do have time spare now for questions. So if you'd like to submit any questions to us via the chat or via the questions function, then we can, of course, answer those. We'll give you 1 minute or 2 minutes to type some into the chat. No rush there, and then we can respond to them as a group, hopefully. Thank you very much.
So it looks like we've got a few questions come in. James, you might be good at answering this one. Someone's asking where they should attach any supporting documents they want to add onto their UCAS statement.
So that should be one stage of your profile. There should be a way that you can attach some documents there through the My Profile section. However, if there are specific requirements that you want a specific course or university to know about, it's definitely worth having a look on that university website, because there should be specific contacts essentially for you to send them to as well. That would be my best advice there.
Okay, great. We've also been asked if you can stay in halls for all years. That might vary from university to university. At Royal Holloway, we guarantee accommodation on site in the first year, and then moving on from that, it is always an option, but it might not necessarily be guaranteed. And I think that is normally quite typical of most universities in the UK as well. James, this could be one for you. What's the date for getting the final offer?
So again, that changes from university to university. It will depend on when you get your application in, essentially. But that all-important deadline for universities to respond to you will be that 18th of May 2023. So it won't be any later than that. Of course, it'll be dependent on the admissions team within your university that you're applying for. And it could come back at any time before that point. Yeah.
Brilliant, thank you. Okay, so we've also been asked if there is anything you can do to improve your chances of applying for a subject which you've not previously studied. So this would be where your personal statement is super important. Anything you can say that you've read in your own time, any classes you've taken, any trips you've made, anything you've gone to visit, any documentaries you've watched, all of this kind of stuff you can put inside your personal statement to really show why you want to be studying this new subject. It's very common for people to be applying for courses that they've not had the opportunity of studying before at school, so it's not something to be worried about. But there are, the personal statement is the best way of demonstrating why you are a good fit for this course. Okay, we've also been asked if there is an option to defer a place after receiving a conditional offer from Royal Holloway. James, I don't know if you want to answer that one.
Yes, that definitely is an option, but the best way to find out a confirmative answer about that is to get in touch with our admissions team. If it is specifically Royal Holloway, if you go online, there will be a form that you could submit, and hopefully if you explain the situation to them, they'll get back to you hopefully in the next few working days after that point. So yeah.
Brilliant, thank you. And then you can probably take this, having studied here before. Where do campus jobs get advertised, do you know?
Yep. So yeah, campus jobs are a really great way. I worked 3 years actually in our little student union shop on campus, so I've got good experience of having been a part-time student worker. They get advertised both through Royal Holloway's college website directly. So there are ones that Royal Holloway as a college absolutely offer. That could be like catering. It could be a student ambassador that you help out on open days or on events like these, for instance. However, our student union website also has all the different jobs available via the student union on offer to students. So of course, I was in the shop, so I worked as a shop assistant for 3 years. That's how I did it through the student union. You can also work in the student union venues, such as the bar, the nightclub, the pub, things like that as well. There's so many different ways of getting involved, and they're really great flexible options as well. There is a limit, I believe, on not going over 20 hours. So it is, totally 20 hours a week, I should say. So it's totally in the mindset that it's only to support your learning. But yeah, very, very good option that I would strongly advise people to take a look at if you do start at Royal Holloway.
Brilliant, thank you. And then is there a final date for Royal Holloway to give their offers out? Is there a different date that we work to, or is that just the same as the usual?
Not that as far as I'm aware of. As I said, the sooner you get your application in, the sooner you'll get a response. We cannot really give a definitive deadline, I believe, but you'll definitely have it by that 18th of May 2023 deadline. So that's what we can say, I believe. Yeah.
Brilliant, thank you. Don't think we've got any more questions. We'll just leave it open for a couple seconds longer, just in case anyone has any final questions they want to ask.
Really great questions. Thank you for asking. Cool. Well, I think if there are, sorry, is there one more?
Yeah, one more question coming. The total fee for 3 years.
So that will be £9,250 per year times 3. So I'm not a mathematician, so I'm not going to say it off the top of my head. But whatever that is times 3. Of course, if you do extend your studies through maybe a year abroad or a study in industry, then there will be an extra added cost factor involved there as well. But yeah, that's for UK students specifically. Yeah.
Yeah, and then for internationals, it will vary from course to course. And yeah, also you do need to think about the accommodation costs. As I said, these can vary as well. There's all the information's in our accommodation section on our website, and that was the same on most universities' websites as well. This depends on whether or not you want to stay in university halls every year. It depends on the kind of hall you want to be in. There are different options. You can share a room, you could be sharing a bathroom, you could be further away from campus. So there's lots of different price variations in the ones that we offer. And then typically at Royal Holloway, people move out of sort of uni accommodation in their 2nd and 3rd years, and that can be a bit cheaper as well to live with friends they've made in nearby villages. So there's a lot of variation. It's just worth going onto the website and seeing all the different costs there. Everything should be nice and clear.
Yeah. If anyone does have any further questions, please don't hesitate to have a look on our website if there's any FAQs that might be helpful for you that we've already answered on there. But likewise, don't hesitate to get in contact with us. My email is james.casey@rhul.ac.uk. So if you do need to contact me, please feel free to. I'm more than happy to help in any questions that I can. Fantastic. So I think that is all from us this evening. Thank you so much for coming along to tonight's webinar. Hopefully it's been useful for you. Hopefully you've taken something away that is not only going to help you to finish your UCAS application if you haven't finished it, but also to think about in what you've got coming in the next few months ahead of you. So yeah, that's thank you from me. Thank you from Adam, and thank you from Tara as well in the chat. So yes, have a lovely evening, everyone, and thank you very much for coming along.